You know, I wish still I can use this music. Listen. But unfortunately, my subscription for this music has come to an end and I don't have money to resume my submission for Epidemic Sound. So if you wanna help me out, please consider subscribe and like this video so we can be in the YouTube algorithm. Today, we are back for some Touhou character tier list. This time is about stage 4 boss. If you are new to the channel, this is actually an ongoing series about me tier listing Touhou bosses in terms of difficulty. Sort of comparing them which one is difficult and which one is more of a casual one. Obviously, I'm not gonna include Touhou PC98, Touhou POFV, and Touhou spin-off game because they are kind of different. It took me a long break to finally make a stage 4 tier list because this one is not easy to be done correctly. If you guys can see, there are 4 Patchoulis here and 6 Satoris there. Stage 4 bosses are known to be the run destroyer because of how surprisingly difficult it can be, and also the most unique because some of them have varieties, depends on who you chose as the main character. This is possibly the most difficult tier list video I ever made, so make sure you give me simple support by liking and subscribing. Okay, we start with the good old Patchy. We have 4 Patchoulis here. For Reimu A Patchoulis, I'm gonna put her on B tier. It has a basic dodging exercise that can be pretty good and enjoyable for me. She mostly using the fire attacks, which is in my opinion is pretty fun and easier to dodge. Of course, mistakes of, something can happen when you fight Patchouli, but Reimu A Patchouli is okay. For Reimu B, I'll put it in the A tier. Reimu B Patchouli has surprisingly difficult. I done the lunatic run once and it's a 1cc. It is actually pretty difficult one. One spell has attacks coming from the side of the screen, which I personally not a big fan of, and the water and wood sign has a potential to wall you down, so it's difficult to find an opening to push forward. The other attacks are cool and more of your typical dodging exercise. For Marisa, A is gonna be an A tier because in Marisa's A Patchouli has the same thing that I despise, which is the attacks from the side. We have the wood sign, Sylphie horn in high level, whatever that is, and wood and fire sign, forest blaze. And Marisa A is a high level character, so pretty much the most difficult one to use for me. So for Marisa B Patchouli is one of the easiest to deal with. I'm gonna put her on B, actually B tier. The earth sign and metal sign are fun attacks. She has the same water and wood sign from Reimu B that I complained before. It has potential to wall you down. But because Marisa B has the strongest short type in the game, you can melt Patchouli pretty quickly, so not a big problem. So for the Prismriver Sisters, I separate them into 3. The Prismriver Sisters are the unique one because mostly we're gonna fight all of them at once, but somehow which sister you chose may determine the flow of the stage. In the first fight, you will always fight one sister at the beginning. If you fight Reimu, you will fight Lunasa. If you pick Marisa, you will fight Lyrica. And if you pick Sakuya, you will battle Merlin. In the middle part of the fight, you can choose whoever sister you want to fight next by doing the most damage to the chosen sister, leading you to the second solo sister fight. But for beginner, you can find it difficult to choose when you can concentrate on the middle sister sometimes, which is the one that you have fight before. So for Lunasa, the older sister, I'm gonna put her on B tier. She has the standard Touhou dodging, pretty fun, and can also lead you to some mistake. For Merlin, I'm gonna put her on A, because she is the trickiest one. She has lasers and squiggly lasers, of course, really hard to predict. And for Lyrica, she's the nicest one, so she's the C tier. It's very straightforward most of the time for Lyrica. You just need to simple slow movement and forward movement. Easy. Yeah, the good old Reimu and Marisa, two main characters that we somehow fight in the battle in the stage 4. I found Reimu and Marisa are almost equal in terms of annoyingness. Reimu has more room but fast pace and burst attack, while Marisa has slower attacks but denser and more crowded bullets. But if I personally needed to choose between these two, I'm gonna avoid Reimu and simply pick Marisa's fight for one major reason. Reimu's moving a lot, while Marisa mostly standing still. I found myself enjoy Marisa's fight more than Reimu. Yeah, it is still insanely difficult for Marisa, but at least Marisa standing still like a warrior, while Reimu is moving too much like a coward. So I'm gonna put Reimu in the S tier and Marisa in the A tier. So for Aya, for me, Aya is on the fun side. Yes, she's a fast-paced enemy, but I still think it's something that I can handle pretty much. The most difficult attack is probably the timeout one, because it can really crowd it with bullets, but overall she is pretty okay. B tier. Time to get serious. This is gonna be the most complex one in this tier list. We have 6 Satoris here, depends on who you chose. In the second half of the fight, Satori will mimic the attacks of whoever your side partner is. Overall, Satori's fight is pretty difficult but not overly tricky like Reimu's one in Touhou IN. Let's start with Reimu A Satori. She is gonna be in the B tier. So Yukari's attack by Satori are actually the most fun in stage 4 in this game. It's fun and sometimes easy to dodge. It's still really challenging in particularly the last attack, but I think I can deal with it. For Reimu B Satori's, I'm gonna put her on the A tier. So she has Suika's attack by Satori are pretty difficult in my opinion, especially the one with the burst attack. We all hate the burst attack, it's so fast and it's so unpredictable. The fog attack can also be a place where you can make mistakes, where you can run over the bullet. And for Reimu C, Aya's attack is gonna be in the B tier. I don't think it's gonna be a big problem for me. I would say she's even like one that is easiest to deal with for me. The one that holding it back is the shot type of Reimu C. It's pretty horrible in my opinion. For Marisa A, it's gonna be Alice, right? It's gonna be in B tier. Fortunately, we deal with some easy Alice attacks in this game. It pretty much small movement and dodging and misdirection, simple misdirection. And for Marisa B, it's gonna be in B tier as well. We have Patchouli's attack. We also deal a pretty much basic one. Unfortunately, Marisa's got bigger hitbox in this game, so that can be my downfall. For Marisa C, for me, it's the hardest one. Nitori's attack will always be the most weird and tricky one for me. And in this particular stage, Marisa's hitbox, you can really feel it. You can really feel that it hurts so much. Especially because she has the lasers attack now in the very beginning, and whatever the name of this attack is, this one is a freaking nightmare. Okay, we are going to go next for Minamitsu, Captain Murasa, or I'd like to call her Minamitsu actually. Fun fact, a lot of people call her Murasa, but her real name, small name, is Minamitsu. Murasa is her family name. If we call Reimu, Reimu, not Hakurei, we should call Minamitsu, not Murasa. So, out of all stage 4 bosses, she is the most fun. Sure, the anchors can be pretty intimidating, it has a lot of anchors, but she is pretty straightforward boss. Her non-spell consists of dodging exercise basically. The anchor's attacks are mostly basic dodging and misdirection, and for the last timeout spell, you just gotta need to move and don't stand still. Pretty fun boss, so yeah, B tier. For Seiga, I'm gonna put her on the B tier as well. She's an okay boss in my opinion. She actually got lower HP than most of the boss in the game. I think the one that holding you back is the zombie in front of her. Yoshika, the zombie, will become a meat shield, basically standing in front of Seiga, while Seiga is behind sending a supportive attacks. You need to find an angle basically to attack Seiga, and if you can deal enough damage, she will get down pretty quickly. But most of Seiga's and Yoshika's combination attacks are pretty insane to deal with, so she's in B tier. Now, the Tsukumo Sisters. The Tsukumo Sisters has been the one that ruined my Touhou DDC run the most. Both sisters are insanely difficult, but maybe because I absolutely despise the musical notes Danmaku, but between these two, I always found myself struggle heavily with Yatsuhashi. I'm gonna put Benben in A tier and Yatsuhashi in S tier. Yatsuhashi has more unexpected attacks than Benben, and of course the musical notes that coming from behind is almost impossible. It's so hard finding an opening in this attack, but I think they are mostly fun dodging exercise, but not fun when you're having a serious run. Sagume. She's gonna be the first Touhou LOLK cast that I'm not gonna put in the S tier. I'm gonna put her in A actually. It's pretty tricky to put her on this tier list. I'm a little bit conflicted on where to put Sagume actually. Her spell attacks are actually not difficult. If you know how to deal with them, it's actually pretty easy. But I don't think she's on par with say Minamitsu or Seiga. The most difficult parts of her fight are actually the non-spells, which I found pretty difficult, and the non-spell part somehow carrying her difficulty level to the A tier. So still gonna be nice to her, put her on A tier. I'm afraid a lot of people may not gonna approve this. But yeah, Sagume is the first Touhou LOLK cast that I'm not put in the S tier. So for the last three bosses, I'm just gonna be fast. Narumi will be in the B tier, not much of a challenge mostly. She also has the attacks from behind, but it is actually more doable than Yatsuhashi's one. But I think it is also because the drop of difficulty from Touhou 15 to Touhou 16. We have Yachie from Touhou 17, she's gonna be in the A tier. Her non-spell's really difficult, but most importantly, that last spell is freaking nightmare. And the last is gonna be Misumaru. She is B tier. At first, the Yin Yang Orbs attacks are gonna be pretty weird ones since it has a pretty big hitbox. But once you get used to it, it's actually pretty okay. So there you have it, another tier list video. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Or do you want to make your own tier list? Don't worry, I got you covered. There's a link in the description box below and you can make your own tier list and you can share it in Touhou sub-channel in the Gensokyo's Residence Discord server. Also link in the description. I'm gonna keep doing this Touhou stage tier list series. It's really fun actually tier listing something. I understand why people are actually watching this. It's really fun to have an opinion. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing this until I reach stage 1 boss tier list. After that, I still have a lot of tier listing video that I probably gonna share to you guys. So don't forget to subscribe. Next up will be the Touhou stage 3 boss tier list.